what, if it's not a supernatural event, what could it be? So we started investigating whether he could have substituted the guard in his place for the hanging. After we're finished with the Jack the Ripper proof, we intend to go to the cemetery in Philadelphia. We're going to have the grave exhumed. As a relative, I have the right to do that with court proceedings. We're going to dig up. Oh, I skipped a great part of the story. Hold on. When he will, you read this, I know already, Noreen. When he was hung, or supposedly hung, he hired the Pinkerton guards to handle the body. He didn't want anyone at the prison to handle the body. It came down off the gallows. It had a hood on. They laid the body in the coffin, filled the coffin with concrete right on the spot.
Yeah.
Now, when have you ever heard of that before?
Oh my gosh.
Okay? They get a mule team. They call the concrete-filled coffin to the cemetery, which has a hole waiting already. The bottom of that hole has 10 inches of concrete laid and hardened already. They put the coffin in the hole, that's filled with concrete. The Pinkerton guards watch it as it hardens for 2 nights. That's their job. They were paid before by Holmes. And then they leave. Well, the excuse the papers used for all this was that Holmes was afraid that grave robbers would steal his brain to sell to medical science.
That's what I read.
Yeah. If you know anything about this monster, he could have cared less about the hydrocarbons of his flesh. He didn't believe in God or spirits or anything. He wouldn't have cared about the body. What he knew was this. Had his body been dug up and someone found out that it wasn't him, they would have had the greatest manhunt since John Wilkes Booth killed Lincoln.
I never thought about that.
Oh, this man, you gotta remember, this is the most brilliant mind that maybe like Einstein.
Yeah.
And he planned the murder castle 2 years before the World's Fair was there. He went in the transportation system. So put yourself in that frame of mind.
Oh my
He knew he had to make it where it was untouchable. Back then, that much concrete, they didn't have hose and hydraulic equipment that could break up concrete like that. They'd have had to have 100 men out there with chisels.
Oh my God, I never thought about that.
He was free and gone with a new life, blank check to start over.
Oh my God. Well, okay, so
What we're gonna do is we're gonna exhume the concrete. We're gonna dig it up. We're gonna chew it out. We're gonna get whatever remains are left there. And I've asked two pathologists what they expect to see from remains in concrete like that, and quite frankly, they don't know. So that'll be a surprise. What we're going to do is I'm going to sacrifice some tissue, and they're going to do a DNA test on the remains and myself, and we're going to prove to the world whether it's him or not.
Wow.
Oh my God. Oh my God, I love it.
Now, when are you planning to do this?
I'm going to do that after the Ripper trial. We're going to do it one at a time. Quite frankly, all of it's very expensive, and I don't have the money to do it all.
Right. Oh my God.
And I'd like to have it on TV so that some of the country can watch while we're doing it. So it's
Well, we could live stream it.
Not the same. Oh my Lord.
well, we might have you.
We could live stream it, and you could pay for an audience. Are you kidding? You'd make $1 million doing that.
I tell you what, I'm very excited about it, and you know what I love about it, Noreen? So many authors and writers now, they come up with these crazy scenarios and possibilities. There's nothing possible there. There's no scenario there. I'm willing to prove it, yes or no, on the spot. And I think I ought to be given the benefit of the doubt about that until we get there.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh, now the thing is, how do you drill away cement from a human body? Don't you think it would be all like
But what about the bones?
Well, can you get DNA from bones?
That's way beyond my knowledge, and I'll step back and let some expert take care of that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. So, okay, so just suppose it wasn't Mudgett that got hung. And actually they said it took him 20 minutes to die. His neck didn't break. And it took him 20 minutes to die.
I can I can probably give you 10 different stories about how he died that day from different papers. None of them are the same. It's actually hilarious when you read the different ones. I don't know how he died. I don't know the story. One of them, there's legend that he actually said he was Jack the Ripper as he fell on the rope. So I doubt that. I don't believe that at all. But I think, and I write about it in the book, that the guard was in his place. The guard was hypnotized. Herman was a master of hypnosis.
Wow.
He had taught the guard during the days, the months that they were awaiting the execution, exactly what he was to do that day. They had actually, when you go back and read the memoirs and the articles, you'll read the New York Times talking about how Holmes was changing appearance, how he was beginning to look devilish. His ears were changing. He went on a fast. He knew he had to get his body appearing differently in order for the ruse to work that day. And this is all planned out months and ahead. And when you go to the book, there's 2 or 3 pages at the end where he is explaining, Noreen, watching the hanging from the audience of the guard.
Oh my God. Viewers, you can purchase this book at www.bloodstainsthebook.com. I mean, I can't wait to read it. Oh my God.
Just type in Bloodstains on Google. We come up on the first page. You can get it on Amazon Kindle.
Yay! I have a Kindle, yay!
What I did, you know what I like about that in this economy? I put the book at $2.99 on Amazon for people that are having trouble with their budget, and the book is only $2.99. It reads just as well as the print version. I like having a print book in my hand, and or you can get we're selling it on eBay, and we're selling it on Nook, and we're selling it on Smashwords too.
Wow, wonderful.
Gosh.
So everybody can get a copy.
Okay, Jeff, I can't find offhand the day he was executed. What was the date of his execution?
Tell you what, let me grab my book and take exactly.
Okay.
I think it's 1896. He was arrested in 94. Yeah, it would be 96.
Oh, okay. All right. So just say hypothetically, but the thing about it is, okay, if he had somebody else to take his place when he was hung,
right?
Wouldn't they have known that when they went to hang him?
I explain a scenario that I believe happened in the book, and when you read that chapter slowly about that day of the hanging, I think you'll see that it was quite plausible.
Well, yeah, really. Okay, I'll have to, because the only thing I can think of is that they walk him up to get, to that platform. They put the hood on him, but unless they put the hood on him before he walked up that platform, then I could see where that could possibly be.
He talks about the hood coming off, and he held his breath. But the angle from every execution has, I forget the name they give, the technical name they give the observers of the hanging that have to sign off on the execution. But he could tell that the angle, they had to look up so high to the gallows that the face, he got away with it. That's, but like I say, I don't want to ruin that chapter for any of your viewers that might want to buy the book.
God. Okay, I had another question. Okay, so if he was executed in 1896, is there any record of any mass murders or serial killing type murders after his death?
Good question.
That's half the book.
Oh, okay, it's half the book.
That's, and I'll tell you, and I'll even give you one better than that. He touched me when I was a little baby in my carriage with my mother.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he lived almost 100 years.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
And that's the story.
Wow.
It's based on a true story.
That's awesome.
Huh. Okay, did you, now, I asked you, okay, so, the Burlington Hotel and his castle, why do you put, did you answer me that, on that question? Why are they connected?
Well, in the end of the book, did we ever get into you asked me about the epilepsy, did I ever answer that question?
No, you didn't finish answering that one either.
Okay, so we start talking about the Holmes curse and why I believed he was never hung, okay. So, after about 2 years of research, the book became an obsession for me. I read every piece of material ever written about Holmes. I wanted to know who he was inside and out. Well, the obsession affected my health. I started hearing voices.
Oh no.
I started seeing visions. Voices of him giving me advice about how to live. Visions of him showing me how to do the things he was good at. I started worrying about whether these voices and visions were the beginning of insanity. I started seeing neurologists and doctors. They started giving me tests and determined that I was becoming epileptic, and that these visions and voices were the result of seizures. They progressively got worse to where I was soon without the ability to tell where I had been for minutes and then hours. When you have a voice advising you to murder and you can't determine where you've been, life becomes strange. And the book is about that ordeal and trying to figure out, well, you go into a doctor's office, Noreen, you have a doctor tell you, no, there's nothing wrong, this is normal, you have an obsession with this thing, this man, your brain is overloaded with this obsession, you have developed epileptic conditions and seizures, and the voice and visions are just created from the strange brain waves you've developed, and that him telling you these things is nothing that you have created on your own. You've read about what he did when he was alive. So you have neurologists telling you that, you have therapists trying to talk you out of it. And then as you walk out of the rooms, the doctor's room, the therapist, or the neurologist, you have the voice chuckle in your ear that they don't know what they're talking about. So that the book discusses my decision on what I wanted to do as my life got closer and closer to fulfilling the things he was demanding I do. And that's where the epilepsy comes in the story. And it's, I'm still epileptic. I have medicine that handles my condition very well. But I can tell you this, once I was finished with the book and had made my decision about what I wanted to be as a man and take the good side, the voices and visions stopped. And the neurologist and the therapist still can understand why all of a sudden they just stopped.
Wow.
So that's what my manager, Kelly, my best friend in the world, he still thinks is the Holmes curse, that thing. And I'm not sure I believe in that. I tend to believe more in medical science and the epilepsy. But so there are still people that think I was undergoing that that paranormal side of the story.
Wow. Have you ever gone to a psychic, or any psychic ever approached you and said, I'm getting messages from your great-great-grandfather to give to you?
I've been on 2 radio shows with psychics, and the 2 psychics had to leave the room. It was too powerful, they said, and they were getting overwhelmed.
Are you picking up anything?
I don't know anything about that. I don't know how psychics work. I don't know what they were feeling, but they left. So I don't know how that generally works.
So you're not hearing voices anymore, or it's not as loud?
Or I'll tell you, one of the chapters in the book has to do with going into the basement of the post office down to where the torture chamber was, where hundreds of people were murdered. My friend and I got permission from the post office administrator to go down into the basement, which was a sealed room. The post office employees all thought it was haunted. They didn't use it. They had turned off their electronic detection systems, because in a federal office building like that, when you have an alarm, you've got to write a report. And they were getting tired of writing reports and finding nothing down in the basement. So they finally just sealed it off, didn't use it. My friend and I went out to Chicago, traveled out to Englewood, which I don't know if either one of you have ever been to Chicago, or certainly Englewood. Englewood is maybe one of the scariest places in America. At least it was 4 or 5 years ago. The police would get out of cars to buy a Coke in full SWAT gear.
Wow.
It looked like something out of Iraq. Some of the buildings looked bombed. It was all African American. It was, as the white there at the post office, I was definitely a sore thumb. And we couldn't get any cab to stay and wait for us. They just sped off, even when we offered them $100. The post office was a clean, nice place with good employees. And like I said, the employees there believed the basement was haunted. And I explained this in the book, when I walked in the front door of the post office, I was slammed by something, and I had a minor seizure right at the entrance to the post office. And I could see the air waving away from me, going through the people farther away from me. My friend got me my medicine. We sat and waited, and we got permission to go down. When we went down into the basement, the seizure was stronger, and I saw the way the basement looked when it was in operation for Holmes.
Wow.
And the faces coming out of the concrete, and the assistants, and the smells, and the steam, and I describe it in the book. And that I leave to your viewers and my readers, whether they believe or not. I don't really care. I can only tell them what I saw that day.
That's
The book,
amazing.
and like I've told you, the neurologists all think it's quite normal for me to have experienced exactly that with my condition. So, like I say, I leave it to your viewers to decide.
Okay, so now, can you answer me the question now about the Burlington Hotel and his castle?
Right.
How did you pick up on that?
The Burlington, my buddy, the same one that went down into the basement with me, had gone to college with me in Vallejo at the Merchant Marine Academy there across the bridge from you. And we had, when we were college kids, we used to go drink beers over in Fort Costa. And we'd hang around at the little piers there. And we had always noticed the Burlington Hotel. And so I had it in the back of my mind. When I had done the studies about the murder council, there was always something nagging at the back of my brain about a building that I knew looked exactly the same, very similar. Well, at the end of the book, I was a tortured man ready to surrender everything to get away from this thing not giving up on me. And I had this vision of the Burlington Hotel. So I got in my car and drove down to Port Costa, and lo and behold, it came to me all at once that the Burlington was exactly the same. The vision, everything was alike. I walked around the back side of the hotel, and you can do this too, Noreen, when you go, and there's a plaque there. And the Burlington was built 2 years before the murder castle. And in his diary, he talks about visiting and staying in the they didn't call it the Burlington, they had another name for it, but a hotel along at the pier in Port Costa, which, as you and I discussed this afternoon, was one of the busiest ports in California.
Yeah, he talked about that?
That's right.
Oh my God.
He had loved to go there and play poker. he had loved to go there and play with the prostitutes, and he had loved to go there and seek hobbies. And Port Costa, as you imagine, was one of the wildest places west of the Mississippi.
Yes.
Oh my God! Was there any record of any prostitutes being murdered at that time? But I guess they didn't care in those days.
No, they didn't care.
I don't think they cared. They probably just shipped in more. But the point is that my grandfather, when he left me these diaries, had left me a fishing map, and he had left 3 points on the river. One of the points was Port Costa.
Wow.
So then I got motivated to go chase down the other 2, and the end of the book is about finally learning about how my grandfather beat this monster and what I needed to do to get back my normal life too.
Wow, so he was in Port Costa.
So have you gotten back a normal life?
I tell you what, I don't know if I've ever been more at ease in my life. I don't worry about the thoughts that used to torture me. I enjoy writing. I love all the our sales are going through the roof right now. When we started, we would celebrate 1 or 2 books a week, and now we're doing dozens a day. We're getting a lot of I'm enjoying the reviews from people telling me that reading my book is helping them change their lives, which I never intended to do. I just wanted to tell them my story. But I tell you what, it makes me feel very humble, but also very proud that someone would be able to say their life has been made better reading my story.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
so wonderful.
I can't wait to read it, Jeff. It just totally fascinates me.
Well, I want both of you to read it, and what I tell people now, and I tell you what, because I'm enjoying your interview so much. Anybody that calls in or writes in to Kelly, my manager, and says that they learned about the book on your show, we'll give them a signed copy. And what we do now is we ask readers to comment on the Facebook page as they progress through the book. And then all of the people that have read it before, and myself, we discuss back and forth with that reader what they're feeling in the book, and we're having so much fun doing it. And it's you'll be amazed if you do it. When you get to a chapter you don't understand or you don't like, or one you really like, you mention it in the Facebook page, and then you'll get 20-30 comments about it, and it's quite enjoyable.
Jeff, I just want to ask you, why did you, and I didn't get a chance to read it, but on the side of your website on Bloodstains, the book, you singled out chapter 7.
That when we started, Noreen, I had some Hollywood people giving me advice, and they told me I needed to pick a portion out to put on the web page. It's I don't quite know if I do that now, if I had to do it all over again. It was a short chapter. You've left me speechless on your question.
She does that often.
She nailed me.
I didn't get a chance to read it. It's all right. It's about explaining to the readers, what do you do when all of a sudden you found out that this thing is in your background? And I think that's why I put that chapter in it. And maybe it was a little bit of me fighting back, saying I wasn't going to let him change my life or bother me. I was stronger than that, and then quickly learning that I wasn't strong enough to go head to head with him, and the psychological thriller that the book is. And and it, like I've mentioned already, it's about discovering yourself and who you really are, despite having these things in your background. And so Yeah, on that chapter 7, you're talking about a woman, and the woman's name indeed was Rachel, and that was your mother's name, and that the monster had followed your mother and you for days. What's that all about when you were 3 years old?
Okay, that's what I was talking about, where he you reminded me. My mother's name is not really Rachel. I changed names in the book for obvious reasons. There was only 2 people that wanted me to use their real names. In his diary, he talked about, well, I don't want to give away too much of the story, but in his diary, he talks about, he keeps the line of the men who descended from Clara and his boy. He has some of them crossed out and one of them circled. The one that circled is my name. He followed my mother and I that day when she was pushing me in the carriage, and talked to her and touched me to see my reaction. And that chapter explains that event and his comments in the diary about what he thought I was and how I would come out to see if it was what he wanted.
Okay.
Which, if you think about it, I don't know if anything in the world will give you more chills than that.
Yes.
When you think about being a baby and having something like that approach you to see if you were worthy.
Do you remember that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
Wow.
And she doesn't either.
You know, you were talking about how he possibly would have been him executed, but weren't there any court records? Were you able to go back and find any court records on his execution and his stay in when he was in prison?
Absolutely. They're all done properly. It's all signed off. It's absolutely above board. And that's, like I say, one of the biggest thrills for me in all this is I don't have to come up with this theory. My opinion and conjecture, well, based on reasonable logic, would not be able to be proved except for the DNA test that we're going to do. And I'm very excited about it because I know how it's going to turn out. It's not him. I don't believe in a Holmes curse. I don't believe in these supernatural events, 20 or 30 people involved being, murdered or just have these terrible lives. I don't believe in it. And for me, I know how it's going to come out, and maybe a year and a half from now, we'll be able to do it where the whole world can see how it comes out. And if it is him, well, I'll apologize, and I was wrong. And if it isn't, I'm going to take full credit, because I can only tell you, Noreen, and being in this business, I've had 100 people write nasty comments about me being a crazy SOB, and that I'm just another author lying in a book. So this, to me, is very exciting.
Oh, yeah. So you think this is going to happen in about a year and a half? Have you been approached by any television channels?
Sure, we've got Fox and ABC a couple of times. We have WGS Chicago, which is the national cable, is coming out in January with a documentary. They had me in Chicago about 2 weeks ago, and then there's another thing I want to tell your viewers. We are having a drawing that we're going back down into the basement. I'm convinced that there's something that correlates between people that have epileptic seizures and the ones that see ghosts. Now, you can go on Google, you can go on to Scientific American, all of the medical treatises, and they talk about the God spot, where epileptic patients that suffer epilepsies can see or think they see visions. The skeptics think it's that That's just what happens when a brain's not working properly. The others believe that's what happens when a brain's window is opened up and the paranormal is allowed to enter. What we have a TV show studio that wants to go back down into the basement with a paranormal team, one of the famous ones, with some medical assistance, and they want to try to have me recreate the seizure I had in the basement and record what I'm seeing on the camera and what happens down there as we do it. So while I'm not excited about having another seizure, when some of them can be quite terrifying, but I can see that if it's possible, and some of your viewers may think this is way out in the twilight zone, but if we can... There was a comment by Harper's Magazine. Sorry to get off track.
Oh, no, go ahead.
There was a comment by Harper's Magazine that said, if there is a haunted place in America, and if a ghost is going to be seen, it will be in the basement of that post office at the site of the murder castle. They said that, and I agree with that statement. And I'd like to try to give it a chance. So we have a network willing to do it on national TV. So we're trying to line that up right now, get it all set up. So what we've done is, one of my readers, one of the people that buys the printed version of the book and enters the drawing, because they have to tell us legally they want to go down, because it'll be a scary event possibly. We're going to take one of the readers into the basement with us there at the post office on national TV. So it's kind of an interesting contest to win.
Oh my God.
And you have a professional team going down as well?
We have almost everyone volunteering. They all want to go down.
Yeah, but the team that you have going down is a professional team?
It will be the best. I'm going to make sure it's the one that's properly equipped with the one that's known around the industry as the one who can properly record an event and do it in a scientific fashion, not, in the goofy TV material you see on some of the shows.
Are you taking a psychic down?
We are. We
Okay.
are taking a psychic down. One from, I won't give her name on TV, but she's from New Jersey, and she's very highly respected.
Awesome.
So
That
probably will be in June. The drawing is going to be at the end of March in Chicago. There's an H.H. Holmes conference in Chicago that they've asked me to go talk to with Borowski, who is a director of the great documentary on Holmes. He's going to be there too, and we're going to do the drawing there on Fox TV.
Oh wow. I did read that about that fellow you just mentioned. Is
John
there?
Borowski.
Yeah, he did a documentary on Holmes.
He's very good. It's well worth watching. Yeah.
How do we find that?
Just go on Google, put Holmes and Borowski, and it'll pop right up on the first page.
Now, is that documentary available on the internet, or do you have to rent it?
I'm not sure anymore. You used to have to buy it, but I'm not sure if you have to buy it any longer.
And what's it called?
If you do, I don't think it's... Oh.
But if you put Borowski in, it's going to come up.
Oh yeah.
It escapes me, but it's B-R-O-W-S-K-I. It'll pop right up.
B-O-R-O-W-S-K-I?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I did see his name in here. And the documentary's on Holmes?
Totally Holmes.
Wow, I'd love to see that.
I would imagine that John Borowski and Eric Larson know each other very well. They both their material was had some back and forth in it, and they're both very historical professionals. Historians, I should say. They're very good.
I'm surprised that building is still standing, but I guess it's so big, there was no reason for them to tear it down.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because we've just created a foundation called the White City Foundation, and it's a charitable foundation which we haven't begun working the basis of it, but it has always bothered me, Noreen, that a United States post office would have been built on that site when they knew what it was. It bothered the heck out of me. Because, you know, that's the symbol of everything we think great in our country, the post office, the Pony Express, our mail. And here they built it on the site of the worst place on American soil.
Okay.
Then they used existing portions of the basement, the torture basement, for their construction. And I have always wanted that if the book is successful, when that post office is closed, and it will be, after it's excavated, so that we pull all the historical facts out, which I know are there, that when we went down into the basement, you'll enjoy this. There, in the hallways of the basement, these concrete hallways, there is a doorway cut out of the concrete that was replaced. I went and put an FOIA request in with the federal government, and they deleted everything out and wouldn't show me what was in the report that happened in that doorway. I'm fascinated what they were doing down there, cutting away that section of concrete to dig into the dirt that was there when Holmes was there. So anyway, what I want to do is, when that's all excavated and we find the historical facts, which I, again, know are down there, I would like to clean that off. I would like to have the land sanctified, maybe do a little monument or a memorial to try to allow those tortured souls to finally escape from whatever it is. And I don't know much about supernatural or the paranormal, but whatever it is, to let them go, because we should have never built that post office there and held them in.
Wow, so the building burnt down, is that what you said earlier? The building had burnt?
It didn't. That's what Larson and the other author said it did. When you go to that picture on my web, pull up the building, Noreen, look on the right side of the building, and you're going to see a little pickup truck, about a 1934 Ford, with the building totally erect.
Oh, so what did they do then? Did they use the existing building, or they remodeled it?
No, they tore it down, but they tore it down flat, and they built the post office over the top. The post office is 3 or 4 times larger than the old building was. But when you go down into the basement, there are still the original brick construction. You can touch the Holmes murder basement with your hand. And I still haven't quite understood what that was all about and why the federal post office would have allowed that to happen.
Maybe they didn't investigate when they built it, because the land was probably prime.
To me, I think they knew exactly what they were doing.
Really?
I don't know why. There were a piece of land all around that railroad track. They could have put it on the other side of the road. 63rd and Wallace, if you ever investigate it, you'll see that it's not prime real estate. So I don't know. I just another one of my conjectures that one day I hope to prove.
Being a federal building, I imagine I don't know if they get any requests to do paranormal investigations down in that basement, but being a federal building, I don't think they allow anybody to go into those buildings.
Well, like I said, they allowed me in. I think they'll allow me in again for the show. They just allowed PBS. PBS went down and did a show on the basement with, did you watch the show, The Hauntings of Chicago, that was on about a month ago with Ursula Bielski?
No, what channel was that on?
It was on WYCC in Chicago. You can pull it up on their archives. Ursula as the host. I think she's going next week to New Orleans for the second show. They're going to continue it.
Hauntings of Chicago.
But the first one is about Holmes and the murder castle and the post office.
Oh, so Ursula did that. Mm-hmm.
She did a wonderful job. She was an incredible host, and you can see where She might have a future in television.
Wow. Nice. Do you have any other questions for
I'm
Jeff?
just overwhelmed.
I know, really.
Overwhelmed.
It's mind-boggling. It really is. It's absolutely fascinating, and I'm so happy, Jeff, to have you as a guest, because the whole subject is unbelievable. I had no idea. Oh, I lost your voice, honey.
No, I'm
Okay.
here.
If he was Jack the Ripper, what he did here in the United States was so much more horrific than what he did in London. Unless his mind just got more deranged and he decided to do other horrible things to people.
You know, you bring up a good point, because, quite frankly, it doesn't matter much to me whether he was Jack the Ripper or not. He was a million times worse than Jack the Ripper, even if he wasn't. What amazes me, Noreen, is that for over 100 years, history largely left Holmes alone and didn't write about this terrible man much. What me proving the Ripper will do will put his name across, well, everything there is in our history and English history, and put him back up to where he should be as the worst ever, and something evil, I believe pure evil, which should be studied more than just, calling him the first serial killer and then wiping him off the page.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm using the Jack the Ripper for, quite frankly. It's not that important to me. It doesn't even compare to the things you and I and your hosts we've been talking about tonight, about the things he did here in the States. But like I told you, it gives you a platform. The Ripper is the huge thing on Google still, and it gives me the platform to put it back up to where it should be. And then right in front of, I don't know if you're aware of this, but right in front of DiCaprio is doing the movie The Devil in the White City right now, and he's going to star Holmes. I think in a year or a year and a half it should be coming out.
Oh. It's going to be on Holmes?
DiCaprio is playing H.H. Holmes. He's doing The Devil in the White City. I understand they're having troubles. When you read The Devil in the White City, it's a great book, but it's about two subjects. It's about the great architect of the World's Fair, and it's about the serial killer that was going on at the same time, serial killing.
Which was
and
Holmes.
To put that movie on the screen, carrying both sides of that story, is causing them some difficulty. And Tom Cruise owned it first and gave up on the story. They finally quit. DiCaprio bought it from him, and now, from what I understand, and this is nothing substantial, but I understand they're having the same problems.
Problems in what way?
Turning that story into a movie with the permission of the author, and I don't know how it's working out. And
has anybody contacted you about that?
We've had some feelers, and nothing substantial. I'm not that concerned about it, to tell you the truth. I have 2 or 3 good author friends who've had movies made of their books, and other than getting a check, they were all very disappointed with how their works turned out. So I'm not that concerned about it, to tell you the truth, until the book's read by a few more people, and maybe it'll. Like I say, I'm not that concerned. It's not a big deal.
Oh God, I had a question for you, and it slipped what I wanted to say. But anyway, I didn't know, Jeff, I had never heard of H.H. Holmes. I had never heard of Herman Webster Mudgett. And now, I had no idea that he was the first serial killer of the United States. I had no idea until I was going to have you, and I saw you on some other shows, and then when I started checking into it, I couldn't believe what I was reading. Because I never knew about that. Never.
Be careful about the first serial killer thing. He wasn't the first. He was the first they called the serial killer. But he wasn't the first to do that.
Actually, when I plugged in a website on serial killers, it was something find.org serial killers, and he was the first one that comes up. And then you can do comparables. So they gave me H. Holmes, and then some other fellow that was from India or some foreign country. And of course Holmes was the worst. And he had killed more people than this other guy that was supposed to be the first serial killer in India or whatever country this was. But Holmes was the first on the list. And you could put up all the comparables, but the problem was there was 307 pages of serial killers through the whole world, though, not just the United States.
Okay.
So it would be very interesting to do a show on serial killers in the United States, because it would probably take 3 years to do it.
Probably.
It's a fascinating subject, and one that you can learn quite a bit about the condition and what makes a man do those things, and how, what I'm always fascinated with, Noreen, is that the ones that do it and the ones that don't, there's not that big a difference between them in the human mind, and it's that little edge that cracks sometimes that can cause it. And we need to study a little bit more about it, and not be so willing to just say that, oh, he's a psychotic, he's insane, he has a mental disorder. I think it's a little more serious, a little more involved than just that.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jeff. I guess somebody that just enjoys to see people in pain. Maybe it was some kind of sexual fulfillment for him. I don't know, but he obviously enjoyed to see that the pain that he was causing somebody. He enjoyed it. They're suffering and they're screaming, and what he did to that one young boy to the bottom of his foot. I mean, the stuff I was reading was unbelievable. Unbelievable.
There is a chapter in Bloodstains about
Oh, he froze. Jeff, can you hear me? You froze.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Is that all right?
You keep freezing. Go ahead.
You know, there's the block that came up, and oh, there we go. It should be better now. Do you have me now?
Yes, yeah. I do.
There's a chapter about him abducting a police detective and his daughter at their house and taking them back to the torture chamber, and then conducting experiments on what this police detective was capable of performing while he watched Holmes damage his daughter. And I think when you read it, you'll see what a strong man is capable of doing to rescue his daughter in the face of death and injury. And it's quite an amazing scene. And I wish I had the imagination to have made that up, but it's horrible.
God. Oh, okay, everybody, don't forget, this book is unbelievable. You won't be able to put it down. And you can go to the website, www.bloodstainsthebook.com, and you can purchase it off the website. And Jeff, I want to thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to have you as a guest tonight. I just enjoyed you so much. And Donna.
Thank you so much for being here and sharing your life.
It's gone by. I can hardly believe it's already over. But let me finish with one phrase, all right?
Sure.
When I do these interviews, I'm sometimes told that I was so negative about the horrific things this man did. I forgot to tell the viewers that when you read Bloodstains, Noreen, the book ends good, and it's a good thing that's discussed about who we are as human beings in the face of this evil. And I don't want your viewers to lose sight that they'll come away from it different than when they're halfway into it. And I'd like them to stick with it and let me know how maybe it changes the way they look at good and evil.
Jeff,
Wonderful.
I just got a message from the owner of PTN, and she said that people in the chat have a lot of questions to ask you. Would you take
Happy to
it?
answer. Happy
Is
to
it?
answer.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll take some questions. Okay, now I got to see here.
So make them large so that Noreen can see them. Make your font big.
Oh, and Jeff, they love you. They think you're fabulous.
Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, so what's your question? They're saying, don't end the show, don't end the show.
We have to.
But at least Jeff is on our same time zone.
Yay, good.
Okay, please type your questions in all caps.
Are they working on it? Are you working on it?
Okay, guys, ask away. We're waiting. Well, there's a little delay, Jeff.
I'm all right.
They need one of those, you know, the dragon they call it, that you talk into it and it types for you?
Noreen, have you ever read the book Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad?
No, honey, I haven't. Honey, I don't have time to read.
What is
I'll
it?
tell you, it's a novelette, but it's the book they made the movie Apocalypse Now from. It's maybe known as one of the greatest books ever written by a fantastic writer at the turn of the century. But I like to think of Bloodstains as a little bit like that, to where it's a book about a test, what happens to a man's mind when he is given the opportunity of guiltless action, forcing, the choices he makes. And if you ever get a chance, go to Barnes and Nobles. You can buy it for $1.50 and buy Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad and see what you think.
They want him to keep talking. The viewers love listening to you talk, and they want you to keep talking. But you guys,
We can't just
we
keep
can't-
going.
yeah.
So if you do have questions, please do it, or we do have to end.
somebody asked, did you study detectives?
What?
I practiced law before I was involved in writing the book, or before I even knew who I was related to. I was fascinated with the rules of evidence, forensics, handwriting, blood. All of that was what I read about when I didn't read novels, I didn't read sports magazines. I read evidence, and it fascinated me, and my knowledge of those things helped in the book.
And obviously, we have a viewer that didn't hear the whole show. And you might want to mention again about how he probably came up with the name Holmes.
He was fascinated with Sherlock Holmes. That was his literary character of choice. He read everything there was about Sherlock Holmes, and he dressed like the man. He walked like the man. He acted like the man. Everything. He, like I say, it was a pure fascination.
Wow.
Chief, yes. Holmes, H.H. Holmes was his AKA. His real name was Herman Webster Mudgett, and he used the name H.H. Holmes, and that was one of his AKAs.
He had many AKs,
So
yeah?
yes, he is the killer. So any other questions, viewers? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I found 31 other names.
Wow, 31 AKAs. Wow.
Yeah, and I did not read that anywhere on any of the websites I visited. They just talked about H.H. Holmes. Any of those names that he used, were they also associated with anybody famous?
I didn't come across any that rang a bell, Noreen. I think he was using them for incognito purposes.
Okay. Oh, Cheyenne wants to know, can you mention the show again that he was on a haunting in Chicago?
Yeah, The Hauntings of Chicago with Ursula Bielski. And it's on WYCC. But if you, I tell you what, I love Google. Just write The Hauntings of Chicago and it'll pop right up for you, and you probably can grab the video right from there.
Ravens, his website is www.BloodStainsTheBook.com. Thank you. So you're welcome. So any other questions?
Couple more minutes and then we're gonna sign out. Off.
They think you're amazing, Jeff.
Hey Noreen, I'll give you and them a lesson in .com. When we first started looking for a title for the book, I fell in love with bloodstains and the whole concept of his blood staining my soul. But so we checked out whether anyone else had used it first. When you do that now, you have to go to GoDaddy and buy that name immediately after you check it, because there is a company that watches you doing that. They buy it, and then you've got to go pay $5,000 to buy that name from them.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, so when you're ready, you buy it. And it's like $165 to buy it.
Awesome.
So we were forced to buy bloodstainsthebook.com.
Wow.
Very interesting about that.
Good info there.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff, we're going to let you go, honey. There's no more questions. I know they want you to come back. So
please keep us updated on what you're doing and all in all of this.
My pleasure. Noreen and I, we're friends on Facebook, and she knows where the Bloodstains page is too, on my personal page, and she's welcome to contact me anytime.
Jeff, I just want to say, if you ever come to our area and you want to go over to the Burlington Hotel, let us know and we'll meet you up over there, and I'll bring my video camera, and I'll bring Donna, my co-host, who's a paranormal sensitive, and I'd love to do a video over there with the three of us.
Well, you know what? Let's plan that. I'd like to do that pretty soon, and also I'll give you a treat. When you read the end of the book, you're going to see a scene from the Martinez graveyard overlooking the river.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some of California's greatest historical figures buried there. But I will take you both to a place where my grandmother Clara is buried. And she was buried by hand by my grandfather during the Depression, when he had no money to have a gravesite. He went there at night and did it, and then Mark carved it out on the concrete that she is there, and I'll show you where she is, the only wife of H.H. Holmes.
We love that cemetery. That's the one.
It's so amazing. I fall in love with it. I wrote a scene in the book about how I couldn't find where she was. I wasn't following the clues my grandfather was giving me. And there was a herd of deer there. And the deer go there because they're obviously safe there. They're not being hunted. They're not being chased. And they jumped up, went over the fence. My dog chased them away. And I sat down on the warmth where they were. And that's where my grandmother was. I mean, it's
oh my gosh.
Absolutely true.
Fantastic.
So Jeff, you know me on Facebook, so let's get that going.
Yeah.
We'd love to do that whenever you're ready. Maybe after the holidays when it warms up a little bit. It's pretty cold right now.
Let's try it. And I'll show you down Eckley. You know the park at Eckley?
No. Oh, no. By the police station?
No, Eckley, down the little park where you're right in front of C&H Sugar.
Oh, that's Crockett.
Well, it's the little park down below. And if you read the end of the book, I'm not going to tell you what I'll show you down there, but if you read the end of the book, you're going to be amazed what is there on the river, the Sacramento River on the South Bank in California.
Awesome.
You're going to be amazed.
Awesome.
You got
So
it.
I want all the readers. I want all the viewers to remember that Jeff said that if you contact your agent, yes,
My best friend.
your best friend, and let them know that you watched our show and you listened to him on our show. He will send you a autographed copy of his book.
And who's his best friend? Who did they contact?
Kelly.
Kelly,
How did they get a hold of Kelly?
through the website.
All you do is the bloodstainsthebook.com, hit contact us, order, and you hit the buy now for the buy the book, and then let him know you want a signed copy and that you heard it about on the show with Noreen and Donna, and then let him know if you want to be part of that drawing to go into the basement in the post office.
Awesome. Wow, how exciting. All right, we're gonna join too, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Pick us.
Okay, Jeff, thank you so much. Thanks, Jeff. You have a great evening, and thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure, and happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays.
I tell you, most of these I work at. I'm not good at them. I like to write. I really enjoyed the time with you both. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank you. Blessings to you.
Thank you. Good night, Jeff.
Happy holidays.
You too. Thank you. Whoops.
That was fabulous.
Oh my God, can you imagine doing a video over there at the Burlington with him?
Oh my gosh. So hopefully, it's not hopefully, we are going to get this done. We will do this.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm very excited. I haven't been really
I got the
excited,
chills
but
about it.
I know. So just remember, go get his book and read it. I'm going to. Are you?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, we have to read it. It sounds like we have a test. We have to know the ending to know where we're going.
Oh yeah.
So,
Okay, so.
thank you all so much for tuning in tonight and sticking with us. And we are so blessed that you come week after week to spend time with us and our fabulous guests. Thank
Yes.
you for doing this with me.
Oh, thank you. I love you.
Oh, I love you.
Okay, so thanks everybody,
Thank
and if we don't see some of you next week, we have another great guest. Actually, we have a show even after Christmas on the 27th.
Yeah.
I mean, we're full every Tuesday. And so if some of you don't get back with us.